finance minister, the longest serving finance
and
minister.
And also take this into consideration. Also the fact that, look, it looks like we have followed that narrative because everybody seems to be suggesting that, look, he has not showed good faith. And I'm told that good faith is one of the conditions for setting a judge will be able to set bail conditions for any suspect. And the declaration is that Ken has not showed any good faith in his dealings with the country.
So, like I was saying, from the 80s, Kwesi was our finance minister. He was the longest serving finance minister in our contemporary Ghana. He finished his term, he lived in this country, and nobody would even mention his name. When he left, the MPP that he is a member of, he was not the first finance minister of the MPP. In fact, Osafo Mafo was the first finance minister under the MPP's administration. Under the Fourth Republic. He left. Mahamadu came in. He left. And then under Akufo Addo, you came in. Under Akufo Addo, we had about 123 ministers. Is that not the case? How many of them are facing prosecution? There are a lot of them, we know they stole, but they are being pampered by this administration. A lot of them stole. Scratch my back, let me scratch your back. That's what is happening. But you see, what Ken is doing if he succeeds, and that is why when the MPP administration was in power and the court dealt with the issue of setting up Tamakro, we said it, that do your best to bring here. Not because anybody hates anybody, but you will be creating setting a very bad precedent. If I were to have an opportunity to go into any government, I won't go to the USO. I'll take your money and go to Togo and naturalize. I won't go. US is too far. I'll just go to Togo. As we speak, there has not been any official communication between Ken Ofori Atta and the Ghanaian officials. Let's put it that way. God, Ambassador Smith says his attempt to speak to Ken was not successful. Gabby as an darko, I don't know how he managed to speak to Ken Ofori Atta to know Ken Ofori Atta's fears. Gabby darko is in this country. He also decided not to call anybody in Ghana here, but call someone in the US to ask whether when Ken comes to Ghana, Ken will be tried in Ghana. He is calling to find out from someone in the US whether Ken will be given fair treatment in Ghana. That doesn't make sense to you. The National Democratic Congress led by John Mahama is doing well on the economic front, but let me assure them that their inability to deal with corruption and bring Ken Ofori Atta that will sink the administration. They shouldn't play with the aura. Someone has not eaten in the home this morning. That person is better off when he sees that monies that were stolen are being retrieved. That's the reality of the day. Hey, can that give a Genesis, Revelation, Luke, Mark, Jeremiah? He was that magnanimous. He never took your salary. He said Ghana was that poor. He was richer than all of us. He didn't need your money. So Ghana says we want to reward you by finding out what actually took place under your reign. In 2018, remember Akufo Addo described him as a national asset. You remember? We want to just find out from the national asset how he managed to supervise our pairs to be used to dig in that hole. It's as simple as that. Maybe there are better reasons for the hole. How SML came to be to offer us what? revenue assurance. He should just come and show us how assured our revenues were under the SMA regime. What about the PDS? Can just come and explain to us. What about the 52 billion that got missing from our tax account at GCB? We need Mr. Ofori Atta's voice on it. Now he says he doesn't want to come back to his land. I have said that the longer he stays in the United States, the better for the United Party. Because then how would the MPP go back to the people of this country and assure them of accountability and also assure us that given the opportunity, they will be able to deal with corruption? When one of your own is running away from this country, and almost all the major communicators for the party are saying that given the opportunity, they would advise Ken Ofori Atta not to come to Ghana. What have they seen? Now, it is also calling to question the integrity of his lawyers back home. Remember from January of last year, what we were told, that the man was so ill that he needed all of us our prayers. And as those of us that were calling for him to return back home, we were that wicked, we were just unreasonable. There came a letter from the Mayo Clinic, another fake one, remember? A fake doctor, fake letterhead, everything fake about it. Told us that the man was that sick. And I was going through MRI guided biopsy. It's normal procedure. We listened to it. After that, they came to tell us about the 13th of June, 2025, he will go through a surgical operation. What were you told by ICE? They said the man was that fit to be in detention. The man is so fit. Ken is so fit. So it presents the position of the lawyers as not being tenable. That is why we believe that if they could go to that extent of misleading the entire country, then it means there is a question to be answered by Ken. A serious question to be answered by him. He led us to borrow 13.5 billion. Yes, there were parliamentarians. I agree with those that say that what were the parliamentarians doing that allowed him to borrow? Obviously, our parliamentarians, they are only rubber stamp parliamentarians. And because if they weren't, we had told them that this man swindled snitch in the Obotan case, $2.5 million. You allowed him. That I said the MPP had 169 members of parliament, so they had an overwhelming majority. But when it became 137, what happened? So the parliamentarians cannot take themselves out of it. But the ultimate responsibility falls at his doorstep. The mere fact that they allowed you to be our finance minister did not license you to go and do anything anyhow with our finances. He said, you Ken Ofori Atta, you are human than anybody. So once you are sick, you must go to the best clinic in the world, Bio Clinic. What about you and I, David? Even bank hospital, if we don't take it, we can't afford. When we are sick, we delude ourselves or we comfort ourselves with the wayside pharmaceutical shop. Not that you don't want to see a medical doctor, but the various tests that you'll be made to run alone will kill you. The bill will kill you before your due date. And that is why we give our money to people to manage it well so that they can put up hospitals and clinics that can take care of all of us. That person did not see the need to invest our money in modern day clinics and hospitals, but believes that investing in homes was the solution for this country. Come and account, you say you won't account. We are not going to accept that. But you see, the way they are going about it, I know that he will not come. Because look at the logic of it. The man's visa has been revoked. Is that not it? There are reasons for revocation of visas that has been explained by my brother on that here. The revocation of the visa could even mean that he has undertaken criminal activity in the United States of America.
With the involvement of FBI as well. That tells you something.
You understand? But when you have a situation where the former Attorney General of the United States of America is defending him, when you have a situation where you have N.A. Kasimi, another criminal, defending him, it makes it messy and murky. You wouldn't have the opportunity to have that Attorney General be your lawyer. Why would he be your lawyer? Because he's rich. How they can become rich? That is the matter we must be discussing. Was he rich before coming to government, or he became rich after coming into government? Because the last time I checked, when he checked his attorney's firm, every hour on the average in the city equivalent, they are charging 4,006. Are you able to afford that? It tells you. Now I heard from Ambassador Victor Smith that according to the ICE and the authorities, he's holding about 3 passports. Which country's passports is he holding? Or are these Ghanaian passports with different names? We need to know. He doesn't want to come. So, my brother, those of you in this administration, how would I even be able to criticize or go after these people when we have not been able to bring Ken Ofori Atta back? What we are saying is that you are also free to loot. But if you are a man or woman, you go and loot.
Come after you.
If you are a man or woman, I'm sure if Ken Ofori Atta could turn the clock, the house of clock around, maybe he wouldn't have accepted a ministerial appointment. So take a cue from it.
Right.
Nobody is saying you must not enjoy. That's why we buy, we stock your fridges as ministers. We buy you fuel, we pay for your electricity, we give you allowances. When you are traveling, we give you first class ticket. When about 80% of Ghanaians have never even boarded a plane before.
I remember some time ago, they were even giving entertainment allowance.
They are still giving.
Oh.
Even DSTV.
Look, we try as much as in our poverty situation to make your lives better so that you can think well for us. When you do all these things, you say you won't come. All right, we are here.
All right, I want to do this. Your friend, Abu Safiano, remember, from Damongo.
Abu Safiano has written again.
Yes.
Abu, good morning.
He says, the former finance minister is not afraid to return. The real concern is not fear, but the unequal application of the law, where some party members walk free while others are aggressively pursued, undermining public confidence in justice and due process. Such selectivity contradicts the constitutional principle that all persons are equal before the law and weakens democratic accountability. Ken Ofori Atta's reluctance to return to Ghana is not because he is afraid of the charges, but because he is concerned about how he will be treated by state security and the justice system. If he comes back, especially given his current health issues after recent surgeries. Abu Safiano from Damongo.
Abu Safiano is in Damongo. Why is Abu Safiano not being attacked? Number 2, when last did Abu Safiano even speak to Ken Ofori Atta to know that he has undergone a lot of surgeries? Number 3, how many ministers were there in the last administration who have been pursued? Is Ghana a banana republic? Even the president himself, I believe by now should have been paid for his involvement in the National Cathedral, paying David Ajay when there was no contract. He's going about chilling. The man is chilling everywhere. So what is Abu Safiano talking about? You see, when we have mentalities like this, it makes it difficult for this country to develop. I'm sure that he knows the number of people who are in their homes, who have finished universities, who are not getting jobs to do. But on the altar of politics, you think they are doing politicking. This is not politics. It's about bread and butter. I'm done.
When they hear that's selectivity. And what investments it can make to improve the operations of security services.
Absolutely.
And increase the justice system.
Right. Counsel, what might be happening tomorrow when it goes before, the judge? Any indication how the process might be in the U.S.?
Basically, he's been put before an immigration judge.
if a final order is given, he'll be deported. That's all. When you before an immigration judge, once a final order is given, you'll be deported.
Can the process end tomorrow, or it might take a longer period?
It depends.
Looking at the process because he has filed, I'm told.
Yes, if his lawyers file certain processes, for example, if they want to have enough time to provide certain informations and all of that, I mean, they can give them some 1 or 2 days or even a week for them to provide those information. Otherwise, once the final order is given, he'll be deported back to Ghana. Which is why I'm saying that the AG must make it clear whether or not an extradition request has been made. We need to get this. And has the US responded favorably to the request? This, we must not be left to be assuming. This fact has to be made clear. Otherwise, any Ghanaian in the US can have his visa revoked. It has nothing to do with whether you are a part government official. Like Solo rightly said, it can even be because Ken has done something criminal in the US. It has nothing to do with your past.
Ken's position, as was told us by Ghana's High Commissioner, Ghana's ambassador to the USA, his position that, or his concerns that he doubts if he will be granted justice should he return to Ghana. Essentially tells us that one, he is running away, most disappointingly, Ken is telling the whole world that Ghana do not respect the values, the principles of the rule of law. His position becomes even more disappointing when you take into consideration the fact that for 7 years, 2 months, Ken was a cabinet minister of the government that was supposed to be, or that was tasked to be the custodian for that period of the values and ideals of this constitutional democracy. High on those ideals being a fundamental respect for the principle of the rule of law. Very disappointing that after being a custodian of these ideals, these principles, he can sit somewhere and throw dust at the giant strides we've made in our adherence to the values and principles of the rule of law. I think he betrays all of us. He betrays the giant strides we've made as a nation. And for me, it further deepens my belief that he did his politics. He was part of a political cabal whose purpose for doing their politics was not because of what is in the best interest of the country, but was an opportunity by them to advance their parochial interests as against our interests, and that they came with their own agenda. They came with their own agenda, unfortunately. And so, clearly, for somebody who's had the privilege of, supposedly, of serving our nation, at the least opportunity, flees the country and then is advancing propaganda that tells the whole world that listen, don't mind Ghanaians when they say they value rule of law. Don't mind Ghanaians when they say they value the principle of natural justice. Don't mind Ghanaians when in their constitution they say that you are presumed to be innocent until proven so. Don't mind Ghanaians when they say that they believe in due process. And he's doing all that because clearly he's just thinking about himself and he wants to run away from the long arms of justice. For me, that's my first reaction. Yes, he's going to be granted hearing tomorrow. The Americans have told us why he was arrested, and they are saying that he was arrested because he breached their immigration laws. He overstayed his visa. Yeah, you understand? And for me, it's shocking the length at which Ken Ofori Atta is ready to go to flee from this system. This system that over 32 years has shown that it works. It may have its issues, like all systems have. It's not a perfect system. But largely, having lived in this system for the entirety of the 32 years when we took upon ourselves this constitutional democracy, not once have I felt that I'll be denied the values that the system set out to protect. No, we took upon ourselves a constitution, took upon ourselves a constitutional democracy, and the purpose always was, beyond, among other purposes, was to protect the liberties of the citizens of Ghana and anybody at all who comes to Ghana. You understand? Nana Addo took an oath to protect this system, these values. He tasked Ken to help him in discharging the mandate that we gave him. So it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing that Ken would do this to Ghana. Secondly, my concern is how strong are our institutions to guarantee the ideals of the principles of the probity and accountability. Because I've never understood how, even though for some time now, the institution starts with upholding these values and these principles. They were aware of these offenses that Ken is believed to have committed. They sat down aloof and allowed him to leave the jurisdiction. It's very disappointing, and for me, it affirms my firm belief in we taking steps to strengthen these institutions. The guy wrote a letter to the OSP and to the OSP that, listen, I'll be leaving the country indefinitely, and that he's sick, and his lawyers have considered to the whole country that he is unwell. And yes, ICE informs us that he's as fit as a fiddle, and that the ailment, that he's claiming or he's referring to as reasons why he cannot come down to Ghana. Initially, he said he was sick. The issues about he not trusting in the efficacy of the systems we've created to protect
of the judicial system.
No, it's not just the guy says he does not trust in this system we created.
It's not a guy. Ken Ofori Atta is not.
He's a guy. He's a guy. He's a man. We're all guys. He's a guy. You see, sometimes we make people think that they are more humans than all of us, and that's why we are going through this.
You think that he wants to be treated differently, contrary to
Ken is telling me, he's telling me, he's telling the whole Ghana that he's a better human being than any of us. And sometimes we also help them. You know, he's a guy. And he's a guy who firmly falls under the laws of this country. And we should not make him feel that he's more human than anybody. You understand? Because they have this thinking. They came with their own parochial agenda.
You said which people?
Which people? Nana Addo and some of his family members, supported by the MPP. They think they are more human than anybody. They came, you see, I said this, you were my host, and I told you that they came with an agenda which was adverse to the Ghana agenda. They feel that they are above the law, and we see that in what Agyapong said, that what law in our law says that people who we've given our authority to serve us, what's called, ought to be held accountable. The guy clearly is running away, and I'm peeved that, see, we have systems. When Nana Addo was coming to power, he came on the back of the need for us to create an office of special prosecutor. He told us that we needed that office so that we will have somebody who is not partisan, you understand, to be a custodian of our properties. Nana Addo came and told us that he was going to be what? He was going to protect the public place. And the watchman he put there, you understand, opening the doors, Aja himself took, supposedly or purportedly, took his share. Now we are asking him, come and let us take you through, subjugate you through our processes. He says he won't come. He says he won't come, and initially he says what? He is sick. Had very senior, learned colleagues, very senior ones, telling the whole Ghana, hammering the fact that he was sick. Only for us to tell us that the guy is as fit as a fiddle. And I'll refer it again. The guy, He's as fit as a fiddle. And
just addressing Mr. Ofori Atta.
yeah, you understand? He's as fit as a fiddle. And now he's telling us that this system that I was meant to be a custodian of, this system that I took an oath to be faithful to, this system that I said I was going to protect, preserve, this system can't be trusted. It can't be trusted to protect my liberties. And we are sitting here and talking and laughing at him, and then you understand. Listen, so tomorrow he will go. But should he go? You see, things can go either ways. Should he go, and should he not come back? What frantic efforts, what frantic and serious effort is being taken by the government of Ghana, by the government of Ghana to secure justice for us? Because we all look at this from one point of view. But you see, in every criminal case, it's the republic versus somebody who is accused. And we go to court because we want to secure justice for the republic. And that republic means what? It means all of us. It means each and every single one of us. So the state ought to understand that a wrong has been done us. We want justice. And we shouldn't just be relying on what ICE has done. And ICE, you see, ICE have gotten him. The matter can go anyway. Already he's made application for what's it called? A permanent residency. If there's something I know, most of these issues they end up with they being given even permanent residency. I know so many people who
because of the status,
not necessarily because of the status,
or what they contribute to the United States.
Not necessarily, but you see the way some of these immigration things. I have personal knowledge of a lot of people who were caught by ICE. And eventually, instead of they being deported, rather they got their documents regularized. So it can go
either way.
Either way. But my point is, what is government doing to ensure that justice is done us? You see, we shouldn't allow instances where what Ejapa Mensah said. And for me, if his political career doesn't end because of those statements, then I don't know.
Well, the question he asked was what?
No, but he was defending. He was making an argument that there's no law that holds people accountable, and he belongs to a political party who's another senior member, Oponkroma, shamelessly, told all of us that in politics nobody has an interest.
No, he was. He was reading a section of a book.
No, I was.
Let me correct you once again.
Listen.
It was a book launch.
I was there. Listen. I was there. You don't need to say. He said shamelessly that in
he was
politics,
reading from the book written by somebody else.
Listen. I beg you. Are you the host or you are the editor? And I'm not giving a wrong info. He said that in politics, yes, nobody has your interest. Nobody has your interest. And when you are in the room, political room, look around. If you do not see the person being used, then you must know that you are being used. So it's the case that the Ghanaians are being used. But that's what I said, because I look around and I can't see who is being used in this political game. No, I'm looking around. No, you are not being used. And then Ghanaians are looking around. They are telling us.
It was in the book. So
that's at that point. At that time, he was a member of the NPP.
It was one of the reasons why I left the NPP. In fact, it was one of the reasons why I left. You see, so Ghanaians, Okonkoma is telling us, all of us, that in this game, they do not have your interest. I don't know what they're going to do with their interest. He's telling us, shamelessly, that they do not have our interest. And that we've looked around and we cannot see who is being used. So we Ghanaians, we are being used. And that's why senior members of the NPP do not have any qualms to advise Ken, don't come. They advise Ken, don't come. Because their interest, because their interest is not Ghana. Their interest is not Ghana. For them, their interest, the interest, I beg you spoke, I didn't talk. Their interest, I beg you stop. I don't like this. I don't like this. The interest, stop this. Their interest is not Ghana. Their interest is to use politics, in whichever form it is, to advance their parochial interest
No,
because
not
they
every-
said,
not-
I beg you,
every
I will
MP.
stop this,
Every MP.
stop this. Their interest, that's what they are telling us, and that's why they do not have any shame when the matter will be the Republic versus Kenneth Nana Yaw.
Okay.
They don't have any shame
Points
to advise him that don't come, run away.
All right.
Run away.
So I have this
Not
one.
every
This
MP.
one's sent
Not
by
every MP.
lawyer Leonard, who
You
says
don't
that implied from the statement by Gabby otchere that Ken Ofori Atta is apprehensive about getting justice. The fact that when Dr. Ato Forson and Richard Jakpa were prosecuted on the instructions of Ken Ofori Atta suspected Ato Forson and co would not get the needed justice. Anyway, he says that he wants to assure that the judiciary has not changed since the Akufo Addo government left power. But then it lends credence to fears that are usually expressed by those who are always from a previous regime after each transition, who maybe are asked to be answerable or being prosecuted.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.